Dispatch has been a surprise hit for a lot of people, but it makes sense that it's done this well considering it's came from veterans that worked on the Telltale games. If you haven't got enough of narrative games with lots of choices that are similar to Dispatch, there are plenty to choose from. I'll be going over a whole variety of different kinds, but there's probably no better place to start than with Telltale themselves in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is the one that really got this style of game kicked up to the next notch. There have been visual novels and adventure games of all shapes and sizes up to this point, but this one had high production values, excellent writing, and thoughtful player choices to be made, and it really does feel like they just took a TV show and slapped it into a game, giving you the leeway to decide how things turned out. The characters are just fantastic. Lee is a great protagonist that really makes you want him to succeed. Clementine is that character that makes you feel like there are real stakes in your choices, and whether you love or hate the rest of them, each character stands out in their own way. The Walking Dead by Telltale is one of those games that I'd immediately point to for any fan of Dispatch. If you haven't played it yet, get on it. It's available basically everywhere on every platform that you can think of. I promise there isn't another Telltale game on this after these, but I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't also mention Telltale's own take on the superhero genre, Batman the Telltale series. They did a lot with this one, elevating their normal style, adding in gameplay elements that make sense for the Batman universe, such as detective mode. Detective mode allows you to link together various clues and investigate crime scenes that come out throughout the game, but you don't spend the whole time as Batman in various action scenes. You actually spend a lot of time as his alter ego, Bruce Wayne, dealing with all sorts of things like politics, more dilemmas, and talking to people. There's a lot there that I know fans of Dispatch will love, so definitely give both of these Telltale games a try. And now, I'd like to talk about Obsidian's take on the heavy narrative style in Pentiment. I realize this choice is a bit out of what might seem like the standard choices, but stick with me here. Where Pentiment differs from Dispatch in terms of things like setting, it actually has a lot of similarities in their heavy narrative structure. Each choice that you make as you play this game will change how things play out, whether that's the fate of a specific character, story progression, or your relationships with various characters. What makes Pentiment unique is the historical themes. Everything has this unique style that's based on medieval and Renaissance art, manuscripts and prints from that era, and they're dealing with all sorts of the problems that you would expect from that time as well. So it's a fun setting to explore. If you really enjoyed all of the different layers and choice-filled moments in Dispatch, you'll definitely want to give Pentiment a shot. You can play Pentiment on all modern consoles and on PC. And now let's move on to David Cage and Quantic Dream's game about androids, Detroit Become Human. This game really gets into broad themes like the meaning of humanity, discrimination, and most likely things that we'll be dealing with during this upcoming AI revolution that we're currently going through. This is another game that, in a lot of ways, doesn't necessarily feel like a game, but more like a TV show or a movie. It's very cinematic in the way that everything's presented. I think people that enjoyed the way that Dispatch does character interactions and branching paths through dialogue will enjoy Detroit Become Human. Each decision feels like it has a lot of weight, even when sometimes that isn't necessarily the case. You can play Detroit Become Human on PS5 and PC. Life is Strange is another older game that, alongside Telltale games, pioneered this sort of narrative, episodic, and choice-filled style of game with a cinematic or TV show feel to it. The big theme in Life is Strange is how actions that you might not think will affect things can ripple out into big consequences. It deals with some interesting themes and supernatural elements, like with the main character Max's ability to change things in different time periods. Life is Strange would be a good pick for people that enjoy this sort of narrative style of game but want something a bit more grounded in a small town with a bit of teen drama. They have some echoed points in structure, but differ quite a bit in other parts, such as setting. You can play Life is Strange on all modern consoles and PC. If what you think Dispatch needed is a little bit of horror, you might be interested in Until Dawn. Until Dawn is quite a bit different than Dispatch in a lot of ways, but shares that same sort of narrative feel and structure, with choices that you make that lead to different outcomes, and in this case, many of the outcomes lead to a character dying. make the wrong choice and your favorite character might just get eaten by that big scary monster over there. So make sure you take your time, decide wisely, unless you don't like any of them and want them all gone, of course. Regardless, people that love horror games and want a narrative experience similar to something like Dispatch should definitely give Until Dawn a try. You can play Until Dawn on PS5 and PC. So, that's all the games that I have that are similar to Dispatch. If none of these fit the bill for you, maybe go deeper into Telltale's lineup of games. There's plenty to choose from there. Otherwise, if you have a game that you'd like to recommend, make sure to tell me and everyone else in the comments. I'd like to hear your recommendations. If you'd like more game suggestions and videos about RPGs of all kinds, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.